The following program contains explicit support for the War of Independence. If you are a pacifist, Randall may not be right for you. Check with your local Quaker.
Don't wanna be, but I can't seem to change that I'm divisive. Oh, I'm divisive. And now Barry's mad at me 'cause I'm divisive. Barry, help me. I don't wanna be divisive. Yeah, I'm divisive. Got to help me, Uncle Sam, not be so divisive. Set me free. I don't want to be divisive.
Standing for truth in the four corners of America. Fighting for justice on the frontiers of the culture wars. And turning resistance into an art form. Randall Terry.
I don't want to be divisive. I've had it. I'm sick of myself. I need to break this pattern, this addiction to division that I have. There's only one man that I think is capable of setting me free. Barry. Barry, I need you. Mr. President, teach me. Teach me to be free. Please, God. I'm going to sit under his tutelage. But first, a quick word from another professor. He's probably divisive. Play this piece, but if he's one bit divisive, we are throwing his sorry behind off of the show.
When I was told that the IRS was targeting conservative groups, I was baffled. Yes, even I get baffled sometimes. I know it's hard to believe. The IRS targeting groups? How can an infrared spectrograph target someone? Turns out, I'm the blistering idiot. Weird as it is, when the news talks about the IRS, they mean Internal Revenue Service, not infrared spectrograph. I postulate that we are in the Twilight Zone. The Twilight Zone!
All right. Every once in a while, you have an internal epiphany. You wake up, you're going to bed. Some point during the day, you look in the mirror, you have a flash of light, and you realize, I can't go on like this. I cannot continue on the path that I am on and be a whole and healthy and aligned person on my interior. The discontinuity or discongruity or whatever that psychological stuff is called, it really matters. And I had one of those flashes of light. What I've realized is that I am a divisive person. I am. And so, thankfully, the president is our president, my president, is a master of unification, bringing unity where there is division and discord, bringing hope where there is despair. And I'm doubly fortunate that he recently was in Ireland and spoke
to a couple thousand high school students about division and its dangers, and by implication, how we can be unified, how we can be empathetic, how we can work together, how we can set aside these phantoms in our mind that really don't divide us at all. And so in a double stroke of good luck, I was able to face my own failings and to find a physician to cure me. And it was free. And counseling can be expensive. This was free. President Obama, I thank you. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll the tape. And for those of you that have a history in your family tradition, you've shown some of the personality disorders that are associated with divisiveness, I can only hope that what you're about to see brings a healing balm to your soul as well. Lane, please play this magnificent clip.
Because issues like segregated schools and housing, lack of jobs and opportunity, symbols of history that are a source of pride for some and pain for others, these are not tangential to peace, they are essential to it. If towns remain divided, if Catholics have their schools and buildings and Protestants have theirs, if we can't see ourselves in one another, if fear or resentment are allowed to harden, that encourages division. It discourages cooperation. Ultimately, peace is not just about politics. It's about attitudes.
Forgive me, I actually cry every time I see that clip. I've seen it like 10 times. It moves me. I've always hated slavery, I have.
Forgive me for this display of emotion, please, I'm sorry. I've always hated slavery. I hated segregation. I was raised by fairly liberal parents in the good old world sense. But it never occurred to me, I was never able to connect the dots to segregation or from segregation and segregated housing and segregated schools to Catholic schools, vile Catholics, and Protestant schools, vile Protestants, and the divisions that a religious ideology carries with it. You inherently have division if your view of the world is religious. All right? And so, and as the president said, it actually encourages division. And so what I'm doing, number one, is I'm just going back through old tapes of our president's speeches and just beginning to watch, just to learn at the feet of the master. And two is, I'm going to stop going to church as often as I am, because if Catholic and Protestant schools are a source of division, then obviously Catholic churches and Protestant churches are a major source of division, encouraging division, discouraging unity. And I am going to just figure out whatever it is that causes division and conflict between me and my neighbor, me and in-laws, me and family members, and I am going to set it aside. Because the things that unite us are far more important than the things that divide us. All right? I've got to take a break. There's more of this magnificent speech to young people. And if you believe what I'm telling you, you have to be brain dead. My wife and I, for 5 years, have been grinding our own wheat and baking our own bread from scratch. Within 2 hours, you can have fresh wheat in your hand and then piping hot bread come out of the oven. The most nutritious and delicious bread you will ever have. And we do it for under $1 a loaf. Call Paula's Bread and find out about this grain mill and the mixer and how it can save you money and change your life.
James Madison said,
there is no maxim, in my opinion, which is more liable to be misapplied and which therefore needs more elucidation than the current, that the interest of the majority is the political standard of right and wrong. Welcome back to the program, friend. I admit I am so grieved for our country. I'm sure that you are as well. And part of the reason that we do this show is to help you become a better person, so that when you step away from your television screen or when you escape the cyberspace ghetto in front of your computer, that you can think more clearly, that you can act more decisively, that you can speak more precisely on the issues of the day. And part of the ability for us to see things clearly sometimes involves a black backdrop, all right? When you go into a jewelry store and you look at a diamond, what's behind it usually? Right, black velvet, something very dark, so that the truth jumps out, the diamond jumps out in my illustration, and the black, it serves as a backdrop. President Obama's speech to these poor Irish students is full of evil. Do I dare say the word demonic evil? Wisdom that is from below, as James wrote. Demonic, devilish? I think so. So let me play about another minute of his clip, and then we will use it to instruct, to edify, to exhort, to build you up so that you can take your stand in whatever arena God allows you to be.
Ultimately, peace is not just about politics. It's about attitudes. It's about a sense of empathy. It's about breaking down the divisions that we create for ourselves in our own minds and our own hearts that don't exist in any objective reality, but that we carry with us generation after generation.
Now, that sounded good. Let's get rid of division. Let's have empathy. Peace is an attitude, breaking down divisions that don't have any existence in objective reality. One of the ways that you and I can discern if an argument makes sense is to take out the word that's being discussed and insert another word. For example, if someone says, every woman should have the right of her own body and should be able to choose an abortion if she wants to. Take out the word abortion and put in the word slavery. Or if I'm not trying to, or how about this one? I personally don't want to have an abortion, but I'm not willing to impose my morality on you. So take out the word abortion and say, I personally don't want to own a slave, but I'm not willing to impose my morality on you. All right? So then you could go, wait a minute, that's really stupid. This mix and match stuff is what Obama is a genius at. Now, this is what I want you to do. We're going to do it together. Let's take out Catholic and Protestant schools, which was his jumping point, and let's go to mosques and madrasas. Those are the schools where they teach young boys the glories of jihad. So let's say that, let's try it, that there's no objective reality about the divisions between Christians and Muslims. Do you see the idiocy? I mean, 1,400 years of the sword of Islam, terrorizing Christians, suppressing entire nations, destroying free speech, martyring people who call upon the name of the Lord, killing Muslims who convert to Christ. If he were to take, or put in the word synagogues, these synagogues are so divisive. We have divisions. Paul the Apostle wrote, it is necessary that divisions should arise amongst you, so that those who are approved of God might be made manifest. But I'm going to go a step further. And when I come back from this break, we're going to play more of these clips. Jesus has something to say about division. All right? When we come back, let's hear what the Lord himself had to say about division. Do you want to have knowledge, wisdom, discernment? If so, you have to read good books on theology, history, books that look at the lives of great men and women. So to help you to become a more effective Christian, a better witness for truth, somebody who can engage in productive conversation that exhorts and edifies those that you speak with, we're going to do something crazy. We're offering you these 7 books for a gift of any size. You just pay for the shipping and handling, and then give whatever gift that you can, and we will send them to you. But just to make it a little bit more crazy, I will send you a second copy of my 3 books, autographed. You can give them as a gift to your pastor or to a family member and help extend truth and justice in the world. This is while supplies last. Welcome back to the program, friend. Our Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, Son of Man, second person of the Holy Trinity, the creator of the world, the Word made flesh. He has something to say about division. Now, what I'd like to do, and please understand, I'm not trying to give equal billing to Barack Obama and our Lord Jesus Christ. Barack Obama gets to be the nonsense behind which we can see the true and the clear. But isn't it interesting that sometimes that which is evil can be so seductive? I mean, think about it. When Adam and Eve partook of the fruit, I doubt very much that Satan appeared drooling, wicked, nasty stuff and smelling like sulfur, right? So anyway, let's play this clip one more time, and then I'll make a comment or two, and I'll read to you what the Lord said. Lane?
Ultimately, peace is not just about politics. It's about attitudes. It's about a sense of empathy. It's about breaking down the divisions that we create for ourselves in our own minds and our own hearts that don't exist in any objective reality, but that we carry with us generation after generation.
All right. Now, I'll read the words of Jesus and then make a couple of points. Jesus said, "Do you think that I have come to bring or to give peace on earth? No, I tell you, but rather division. From henceforth in one house there will be 5 divided, 3 against 2 and 2 against 3. And then the Lord goes on to talk about division between families. So here we have Barack Obama saying that we have to have empathy for one another and that there are these divisions that are just in our own brain. All right, I'm going to ask you this. You are a Jew in Germany in 1939 or 1941, and you're hiding in an attic, okay? How do you have empathy for the Nazis? Forgive me for going to the ridiculous, but I'll work backwards from the ridiculous. How do you, if you are a black slave in 1858 and your sister was just raped by the slave owner again, okay? How do you have empathy for your master? How do you say these divisions that I'm feeling, they're just in my mind. There's no objective reality here. It's absurd. Do you understand? What Obama is saying is absurd. But if you look at what the Lord said and then see what Obama's saying, Jesus said, I didn't come to bring peace on earth. I came to bring division. And the division that Christ came to bring is ethical and behavioral in nature. Ethical, all right, a body of right and wrong, defined good and evil, moral absolutes versus anything goes, right? That's one source of division. And then from that flows behavior. So how can I, as somebody who is fighting for the rights of unborn babies to be born and to not be butchered, how can I not have division with the people that want to rip little children out of their mother's wombs piecemeal and throw them in a garbage bin or put them in a landfill? How can I I mean, can I actually say, no, these divisions are in my mind. They have no basis in objective reality. No, there is an objective reality. And what Obama is asking these young people to do is to surrender ethics and to surrender to any type of behavior goes. This is a call to what theologians and philosophers call relativism. Okay? Relativism means you get to choose what's right and wrong for you. I get to choose what's right and wrong for me. All ideas are equal. And the greatest virtue is that we simply show respect for one another's views. We tolerate one another. We let each other do what we want to do with no judgments being cast, no aspersions and insults being hurled. Okay? I don't agree to the terms, President Obama. And can I play this card? Our Lord says the same thing. I'm trying to follow him, not you. Jesus said, I came to bring division. I would rather be a follower of Jesus and cause division between good and evil, all right? Between the good guys and the bad guys, than to be on your happy-go-lucky Titanic that's going to sink to the bottom of the ocean and probably go into hell itself. I'll be right back. We'll play more clips of President Obama. Don't go away. Welcome back to the program, friend. In case you just joined us, President Obama recently made a speech in Ireland to a bunch of high school students, about 2,000 of them, the poor souls, to have to endure this mouthpiece of iniquity. You know what? If I was a parent in Ireland, I would file some kind of a child abuse suit. Anyway, let's play the last portion of this clip and make a comment or two.
And I know because America, we too, have had to work hard over the decades, slowly and gradually, sometimes painfully in fits and starts, to keep perfecting our union. 150 years ago, we were torn open by a terrible conflict. Our Civil War was far shorter than the Troubles, but it killed hundreds of thousands of our people. And of course, the legacy of slavery endured for generations.
All right. At this point, I'm confused. To be honest, I really am. At the beginning, he says, we don't want division. There's no objective reality. But then he says, we had a civil war, and we fought against slavery, and those divisive symbols and emblems, like the Confederate flag, they still exist today. So was it worth fighting over slavery? Was it worth having that division? I think he's saying yes. But I think what he's saying now is that Christianity, Catholic schools and Protestant schools, and that ethics, that those are the divisive things that we need to pitch aside, all right? And we had a civil war that cost us hundreds of thousands of lives because of the horror of slavery, and we could have more danger if we continue with these divisions like the Catholics and the Protestants and people that hold the moral absolutes. I'll be honest with you, this is a poorly written speech. He's not doing good dot connecting here. But I'm going to connect a couple dots for you in our remaining moments. At the end of the day, what the president and his cronies want, and John McCain wants, the Republican who ran against him, what they want is for you and I to surrender moral absolutes, to have peace at any cost. So if you're an adamant supporter of marriage being between a man and a woman, the only way that you're going to have peace with the militant homosexual lobby is that you surrender, okay? The Germans and the Japanese had peace with the Allies. All they had to do was surrender, which they ultimately did, and then the hostilities ended. If you're somebody who's fighting for babies, or if you're somebody who's fighting for your God-given right to keep and bear arms, self-defense, etc., the way for you to have peace with your opponents, the way to end the division, is for you to surrender the moral absolute, the truth, the right that you are fighting to protect. Then we can all have peace. But if you don't want to surrender, guess what you have to do? Fight and be divisive. Ooh. Intolerance is a beautiful thing. Have a good day.